nonetheless. So the VA goes on to say that a person's reliance on marijuana-derived income may hinder a veteran's ability to obtain a VA guaranteed home loan, a result that is consistent with other federal housing programs. So what the VA did is they came out and said, you know what? Okay, we don't have anything in black and white that says we're going to turn you down because you're in the cannabis industry. However, what we're going to do is say other housing programs that may be available there, they don't allow it. So, yeah, we're just going to not allow it either. It's absolutely sickening that the VA would do this. Kick the can down the road and then try to kick the damn can to somebody else who's doing something different that they want to do. Meaning that if a different company would not take care of veterans and the VA is trying not to take care of those same veterans in the cannabis industry, then we're just going to say from the VA standpoint, we just do the same things that they do. It's ridiculous. And it's something that we've got to get changed, and we can't get it changed without you. The VA goes on, and they also note that many lenders have established their own income thresholds and policies on overlays, which are often more stringent than VA requirements, to ensure that the VA guaranteed loan will be purchased by an investor in the secondary mortgage market. So instead of actually taking this veteran up and backing them to buy a home, what they're actually trying to do, they're trying to underwrite this so that then they can sell that loan off. They don't want to hold these notes. They don't want to back us. They don't want to back us in the veteran community. The only thing they want to do is make sure that they've underwritten it well enough to where they can sell that off and somebody else will buy that note. It's sickening when you think about it, that this whole notion that our loans are backed by the Veterans Administration is just that. It is a notion, and it's a complete false notion. So all the VA wants to do is make our application as pretty as they can and then send that application off to, now scratch that. They want to sell that application off to somebody else to buy, so that then now that VA-backed mortgage is in somebody else's hand and it's not backed by the VA anymore. It's pretty ridiculous. When you look at individual lending companies and how they could be denying home loans to veterans because the cannabis industry derived income that they would use to pay back loans isn't necessarily stable and reliable due to the fact that federal officials could shut down their employers at any time. That's really what this comes down to. It comes down to the fact that the federal government at any point in time could come down and shut down any state's medical cannabis or recreational cannabis programs because it technically does violate federal law. But if that's the case, just come out and say that. Say that you're worried that the federal government will come down and strike down this cannabis business and then they're no longer going to have an income. If that's truly the case, then just say it. We would be okay with that. We'd be completely okay with that. Just knowing that, hey, the real reason is that, technically it's against federal law and we're afraid that the government's going to come in and shut your business down. So we're just not going to underwrite that. If they would just say that, I think we wouldn't be fine with it, but we would be okay knowing that at least we do have a black and white backed information reason, informed reason of why they're not going to back our loan, right? But they don't. They won't even come out and say that. It's really frustrating. And it really comes down to the fact that we just don't have people up there in Congress and in the Veterans Administration representing our veteran needs and our veteran cares the way that we should be represented. And it all starts with us. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening to this Veterans for Cannabis podcast that have never called your congressman or your senator, please, 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 please do. And if you do anything, just ask them for one thing, to change the rules so that anybody running the VA, anybody that's represented veterans, has to be a veteran themselves. I think we would change a lot of things. We would help improve the Veterans Administration for our veterans around the country and around the world, knowing that it's run by leaders who are actually veterans themselves. So it's frustrating that it's not that way right now, but if I have anything from you all and it's that call to action, I ask you all to at least do that. Reach out to your Congress people, your senators, and your elected officials, your representatives, and ask them to put an amendment forth that requires anybody that runs the VA and is in a high-level position, be a veteran themselves, I think it would change a lot of things that are frustrating to us from the Veterans Administration. So, Representative Clark, she also had an amendment there to address the problem that was approved by the House as part of a defense spending bill. And though leaders in the chamber agreed to scrap it after the Senate didn't include it in its version of the legislation, and that was where it came out that the House Appropriations Committee also approved report language last year attached to the bill that funds VA, expressing concerns that the department has never publicly stated its position on this matter, hindering veterans' ability to fully understand and consider how employment decisions could affect future eligibility for earned benefits. And that's really frustrating, is the fact that they won't even come out. When I say they, the VA won't even come out and say where they stand on this case. So when our congressional leaders are trying to implement bills and amendments to fix the issue, hell, they can't get the VA to even tell them what the issue is. So that's a huge, huge issue. And I think it comes down to, once again, like I said, the people who are running the VA are not veterans themselves. And if they are a veteran, they are so far removed from being a veteran that they just don't care about it anymore. The only thing they care about is having their pockets lined by those who are in the know and essentially paying them to give them contracts and do all those things rather than take care of the veterans. And that's frustrating to us. You know, we just got a couple minutes left here on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast today. And I thought this was a great thing to pull up again and to rehash. I know we had talked about there was a rumor out there that veterans weren't getting approved applications for their housing on the VA loan. And now it's absolutely not a rumor. It's a fact. The VA is trying to clear it up. And in the next fiscal year, there's a new report that's attached to the latest military construction, Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies spending bill, which acknowledges the VA's recent policy clarifications. But lawmakers are asking the department to do more. So the committee, it understands that as directed by House Report 116 to 63 vote, the VA has clarified that nothing in the VA statutes or regulations specifically prohibits a veteran whose income is derived from state legalized cannabis activities from obtaining a certificate of eligibility for VA home loan benefits. The report states that the committee directs the VA to improve communication with eligible lending institutions to reduce confusion among leaders and borrowers on this matter. So, what they've done is they've introduced an amendment basically that's saying, hey, we are going to make it very clear for the VA, even though the VA won't say it, that the committee is directing the VA to improve the communication with eligible lending institutions to ensure they understand that we, the Veterans Administration, will not disapprove somebody because they're in the cannabis industry, especially if it's in a state that has a medical cannabis program or a recreational cannabis program. So Representative Clark went on to tell Marijuana Moment that no veteran should be denied benefits simply because they work within the legal cannabis industry. I agree with her 100% and completely. And it has to be crystal clear. And that's what Representative Clark says too. This must be crystal clear in our laws and communicated directly to both borrowers and lenders. By including this language, we are eliminating any doubt about the rights of our service members and protecting their ability to access what they've rightfully earned. So, with that said, I'm going to close this Veterans for Cannabis podcast today, knowing that this little amendment that Representative Clark has added in there, we need your support on. We need you to call your representatives and your senators and ask them to support this amendment to clarify the VA stance and to prove that they cannot deny a veteran the VA backing of their loans if they're in the medical cannabis program or recreational cannabis program that's legal in their state. So I think that's about it for on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. I know that was one very specific issue, but I felt like we had to readdress that since we just touched the surface of it on the previous podcast. But just know the VA does not have an official stance, and they say that they will not deny us a VA backing of our home loan guarantee if we're in a cannabis related field. So they legally cannot do it. Now this amendment that Representative Clark has introduced is trying to actually close the loophole on them being able to do it and force them to not be able to ever do it again. So we need your help. Need you to call your reps, call your senators, and ask them to support Representative Clark's amendment that clarifies the VA stance that No veteran will be left behind if they're working in the cannabis industry and want to get a home loan. We appreciate you tuning in today on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. I'm Joshua Littrell, your esteemed host, and I'm signing off. Until next time, y'all take care.
Line over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the drums rum-tumming everywhere, so prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware, we'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there.